Hey guys, happy Saint Saturday. I'm Jared, and today I wanted to share with you one of my favorite saints. His name is Saint Maximilian Kolbe. He was a Polish saint, and he grew up and lived during the First and Second World Wars over in Poland. And even as a youngster, he was a devout Catholic. And in fact, he had an image of the Blessed Virgin. At one point, I think he was like 8 or 9 years old. And Mary held out two different crowns, and one was white and one was red. And she said, "Which crown would you like?" The white symbolizing a life of purity, and the red symbolizing a life of suffering. And Maximilian, in such deep love for the Blessed Virgin Mary, said that he would have both of them. He would take them both. And so at that point, that was really the beginning of his road to sainthood. One of the cool things about him is that he wanted to become a soldier, but unfortunately he had some sort of illness, and that kind of put a kibosh on that. So he decided to become a priest, and instead of defeating evil through warfare, he decided to try to convert sinners into saints. The Nazis in particular did not like this. And at one point, he was eventually arrested for a final time, I believe at his monastery that he started outside of Warsaw. And once he was arrested, he was sentenced to hard labor at Auschwitz. At one point during his time there, someone had escaped, and the Nazis had this policy where basically they would take 10 people, 10 of the prisoners inside whatever camp it was that they were at, and they would execute them. And so they were all standing in formation at one point after this prisoner had escaped, and the Nazis were picking the 10 people. They chose this one particular fella who was standing fairly close to Saint Maximilian Kolbe. He cried out begging for his life. Maximilian had such compassion for this man that he actually offered to take his place. And so the Nazis took him, along with 9 other prisoners, and put him in a cell block in the basement of one of the buildings, and they starved them to death. That was originally the plan. Over the course of these weeks that they were in this cell block, Maximilian would be seen daily praying with all the prisoners. And in fact, he'd hear confessions and do mass, I think, to the ability that he was able to do it. These prisoners, one at a time, would end up dying. And after a few weeks, Maximilian was the only one left. And the Nazi soldiers, they just wanted to use the space for some other purpose. So because Maximilian wasn't dying on his own, they ended up injecting him with a poison. I like Maximilian's story because today especially we have all this conversation about what true masculinity is. And I think Saint Maximilian Kolbe is a great example of that, because not only did he have such great love for others, and including and especially his mother, the Blessed Virgin Mary, but also he stood up for evil, and he was very courageous in doing so. Over the course of his entire life, he was constantly rejecting evil and standing up to it and fighting against it with Jesus Christ by his side. And then also he sacrificed himself for others, which was modeled by Jesus himself. And so I really do believe that's what masculinity is, and that's why Saint Maximilian is such a great saint. So let us today remember that it's not always easy to stand up for what's right and to stand against evil, but especially today it's important to do so. Next week, I want to share with you the saint that I took for my confirmation name. Maximilian Kolbe was in the running, but I did decide to choose someone else. And so I will share with you who it was that I took as my patron saint. And I look forward to doing that. So a little bit of a teaser, but I'll tell you next week. Have a great rest of the weekend. Don't forget to go to church. Love you. Mean it. See you later.